Hey, it's PHILA. You're watching PHILA TV, the ultimate YouTube channel. I'm a cinematographer, just a dude with a camera. Anyways, we are still in the middle of this heat wave in Southern California. Although it's cooled off quite a bit. It's in the high 90s, mid 90s. But we'll get back over 100 this weekend. Anyways, as you can see, we are going to be looking at, well, another one of my favorite plants, which is the foxtail agave. I've been growing these for years. Here's a look at the mother plant, which is still actually, I figured out today, still producing. This is the mother plant that started it off. A few years ago it got froze. We had a really bad freeze here in Southern California, and I snipped it off, and it continued to grow pups from here. This one, I don't even know how old it is. I mean, you can judge by the pot. The pot's decomposing. It's pretty cool. But I just cleaned all the leaves out of it. And look, I thought this was dead. You see? I thought that was dead. And I cleaned the leaves out, and you can see I knocked some of the pups down. But it continues to thrive. Now, I've had this plant 10 years maybe. And that's how I was able to accumulate all of these. All of these are offspring from that one. As you can see, it's got quite a bit of sun damage here from the intense heat we just had in Southern California. In fact, if you look up at the sky, it's pretty dreary. So we're going to get these all cleaned up. We're going to pull all the leaves off. Some will get repotted. Some will be in new formations. And as you can see, I always do with 3. These guys just got out of control. Some good sized plants and a lot of work ahead of us. And as you can see, these are just scattered throughout the yard, and we have had a ton of damage on here from, you know, this massive heat wave that we have in the city that I live in. It was 117 degrees just last weekend. So we've had a lot of damage. So in a way, it's, I mean, I'm not gonna say it's fun, but it gives me actually opportunity to, you know, work on my plants more and spend some time with them. However, I have to do it indoors because it's either too hot here in SoCal, or now we have fires and our skies are yellow. So it's not a good time to be out there breathing. So these foxtails, I like them because they're not going to stab you like the rest of the blue agave. I've had my share of injuries with those guys, I can tell you. Even digging pups out and cleaning leaves off is ridiculous. So as these fry, as long as you still have this very top one working out well, you'll still have a nice floret growing like crazy. The more you tear off of the leaves, the faster it'll grow from the top, and it'll eventually start producing pups. So what I've got here is generations old. I try to get them, like I do with my yuccas, into groups of 3. So as you can see right here, we have, you know, a nice fat group that's probably 3 years old. And this is a group that I did I don't even remember how long ago, but I'll get a closer look at this one when we're cleaning it up. But this one's spread out, and it's got, you know, exposed roots. And then there's one from just a couple of years ago that has 3, but one of them didn't manifest itself into too big of a plant. And then we have, you know, individual ones. So I'm going to go through, and just like I do with the yuccas, if you start at the bottom, you know, these are semi-tropical. They do not like desert heat. I usually have them hidden away, you know, this time of year. That's why they're in pots. I have them hidden away so I can, you know, move them in the shade in the summer, and then, you know, right after October, November, when it starts to cool off, then I can start scattering these, you know, in their different locations where I like them to live. So what I do is I take everything that shows any kind of damage, no matter how high it is, I will remove it all the way to that leaf. Because even though this looks pretty stripped, it's going to come back really fast. This poor guy's going to need a replanting here. This one here, also cut up. It was 3, but 1 died off. So, and this I would imagine too was, you know, quite a few years ago. But these things hold a lot of water. If you neglect them, like anything else, they will dry out. So, you know, you got to make sure you keep your soil semi-moist. And it doesn't like the hot afternoon sun. So this one is going to get stripped way back because it's got die-off going really high. And now that I'm looking at this one, with the roots growing as high as they are, I don't know if you can quite see this yet, but it's got roots. So I could, in effect, cut this off, put it in the ground, don't have to worry about propagating it, and this will start to grow pups, like the mother plant has been doing. So I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with a lot of these, but you know, I keep these stripped down, and I do this in the spring and at late summer after a lot has been killed off. But I mean, it's not a pretty sight because these things get pretty sloppy. But you know, as long as like I said, the very tip is growing, then you know you're in good shape. I like this great big one because this is one of the first babies I started with, and I could see something's going on there. We've got some growth coming out of the side of it, and this thing is really got really big over the last couple of years. And like I said, I'll take this all the way down because right now we're done with the heat, so it's not going to dry off as much, you know, dry out. But again, unlike, here we go, all the way to this one. Unlike cactus, you know, these come off nice and easy. They don't have to be sawed, and they will create a nice trunk. And as you can see, I see a little bit of a node swelling up here. So you can see where it's green, where it looks like we're going to get some growth on the big one here. There are bigger ones out in the yard, but those have not made it too well over the course of the last handful of years. And these, you know, they get grouped together and put in the shade during the summer because they will fry. So, you know, they get pretty tattered. So, like I said, I'm not afraid to, you know, tear them up and let them start over because they will get moved into the sun within the next month or so as it starts to cool off here. But I can see there's a lot of damage from the sun. So you guys get the idea on how I keep these all nice and cleaned up. And as far as propagating, like you can see, this is another threesome that I put in this pot that, you know, I'm going to separate this out because I just don't like the way it's growing so far apart. But down in here, if I look, I got myself a little baby, a little pup here with roots that I just need to simply put in a pot and start growing. We'll look at it again next year. So that's my look at these foxtail agave. They're also called lion's tail, but either way, I just call them foxtails because that's what I've always heard them called. And they're easy to grow, they're easy to maintain. And like I said, you can just chop these off here and it'll start growing a colony like you wouldn't believe. So I hope you guys like this video. Give me a thumbs up and please subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I will keep these videos coming because I like doing this. Thanks for watching PHILA TV.